All right, so it is the end of October, and what that means is the really bad weather is right around the corner. And so one of the things that I've started doing the last few years is at this time of the year when we're in fall and we know that winter's right around the corner and the road's salt and all the grime and dirt and it's going to be wet all the time, all that stuff's going to be on the roads, and generally the truck's just going to stay nasty for the next 6 months. So what I'll do is I'll ceramic coat it, and I don't do the really expensive dealer provided ceramic coat. I actually use this product right here made by Turtle Wax. Project Farm on his YouTube channel did a video a few years ago where he compared all the different brands of this spray coating, and this one right here blew the other ones away. It was actually amazing how long this stuff will stay on your vehicle, how well it holds up. I mean, he purposefully tried to wipe it off of the panel that he was using as a test panel, painted panel. You know, he tried to get that stuff off of there in a lot of different ways, and it just continued to hold up. Excellent stuff that you can buy for $15 or $20 a bottle, and you can spray it on yourself, and it does a great job. So I put that stuff all over my trucks going into winter. You know, it'll easily last 6 months to a year if you apply it properly. So the first step, of course, is to wash your truck really well, which you can see that I've already done. What I use is just regular Dawn dish soap, because it does a good job of cutting through the oil and grime and stuff that's already on your clear coat. So I'll wash the truck really good, and then I go through with a chamois cloth and dry it all down. You know, it's sunny out here, so I'm gonna give it about 30 more minutes to continue to air dry. And then all you have to do is take this stuff and spray it on your panels and wipe it in with a microfiber cloth. I mean, there's instructions on the back, but it's really simple. You literally just spray it on, kind of like a spray wax, except this stuff holds up a lot better than a traditional wax. So I've showed you guys this stuff before. I think I used it on the Ram last year or the year before, but I just wanted to mention it again. It's a great idea to do this. It's something you can do at home. You can spend just 1 hour washing your truck and putting this stuff on there, and it'll give you really good results for the next 6 months as we head into winter, because let's face it, all that stuff they put on the roads is not good for your paint. So I'm gonna go ahead and spray this on, wipe it in with a clean, dry microfiber, and I should be good to go. So it took me about 15 minutes to go around the entire truck. What I did was I used a clean microfiber. I sprayed this on the panel and just wiped it in. And then after I did the whole truck, I got a new clean one, a new clean cloth, and I went around it and did it again. So I put 2 light coats around the whole truck. Like I said, it took me about 15 minutes. And now, look at this. It's as slick as a minnow's tail, as they would say. So water will beat up any chemicals or road salt or anything that ends up on this paint. It'll just beat up. And the great thing about it is then when you do go to wash the truck, I find that it washes much more easily. You can go through the auto wash that, you know, just has the spray nozzles, and it'll clean your truck really well, or you can do it at home, obviously. So there you go, guys. This is a pretty awesome product, the Hybrid Solutions Spray Ceramic Coating. Check it out. By the way, guys, this truck is getting ready to go under a, let's just call it a cosmetic change. So this is an Overland, obviously. What I really wanted was the Willys package. Now, I'll probably pronounce that wrong. Some people around here call it Willys. Some people say Willys, whatever, you know what I mean. So the Willys package on these Gladiators is sweet. You get the black wheels, black emblems, black grill, the mud terrain tires. You know, it's just a really nice looking package, and I really wanted that. But when my dealer tried to build the truck with the specific options I wanted, the system wouldn't let him build it. You know, from time to time throughout the year that happens. You know, certain packages or certain options become unavailable with certain trims. I think it just has to do with supply, you know, and all that kind of stuff. So anyway, long story short, he couldn't build a Willys with the specific options I wanted, so that's why I went with the Overland. which is okay because the Overland is a little bit nicer truck. You get some additional things standard on the Overland that you don't get on the Willys, so that's fine. But I really wanted that one because of the black accents. So what I'm gonna do, I mean, this truck looks pretty good like this, but I'm gonna go through and kind of do my own Willys package, if you wanna call it that. I'm gonna do some black accents and just kind of change it up cosmetically, and I think it's gonna look pretty awesome. So I'll show you the before and after and the specific things that I'm gonna do to make this change. All right, so first of all, the emblems on the Overland are silver. You guys know that. And so we're gonna have to change this somehow. Now you can purchase black emblems, but it's really expensive if you do that, and it's a lot more work because, believe it or not, this particular emblem can be a little bit hard to get off. Even if you heat it up and use the fishing line trick, it can be a little tough to get off. You know, and of course you'd have to take these off. So instead of doing that, I'm gonna go with the plasti dip because that's what everybody else does. And I've done it before myself. I even did an entire chrome rear bumper on a Nissan Frontier in plasti dip, and it held up really, really well. A year or a year and a half later, that stuff still looked like the day I had put it on. So I'm gonna get some black plasti dip, and we're gonna coat these emblems back here in black. And here's the one specifically that I bought. I wish that they had a gloss black, but all of them just say black. There's no satin black or flat black or gloss black, it's just black. And I guess that's just the nature of that particular material. So anyway, I've got to do those three emblems back there. And then over here on the sides, the Jeep emblem is also silver or chrome or whatever you want to call it. It's strange because they did do Gladiator in black, so at least we don't have to fool with that. But this one and the one on the other side, and then those three on the tailgate, that's all we have to take care of with the plasti dip. Now in the front of the truck, the stock Overland bumper has a lot of silver accents. I've already gotten rid of those and I've gone with this aftermarket option. But I still do have to deal with the grille because the grille has the silver accents too. Now one thing that I learned after I got this truck is that the Overland and the Rubicon and all of the trims that are based upon the Overland and Rubicon have a 3-piece grille, whereas the Sports are not. So what you can do with these is you can remove the grille from the truck and separate the 3 pieces, which takes a little time, but I'll show you when we get to that in another video how that works. But you can separate the pieces and you can take this silver trim out. So what I did, I almost bought the full black grille that comes on the Willys, but it's like $320. And maybe later on I'll regret it and wish I had done that. But what I've decided to do for now is just to replace the silver trim with the black trim. So I'm going to take this out and put the black in, and so everything that's silver here and between the grille slots and the headlights will be black. And so that'll take care of the black accenting on the front. And then comes the wheels. Now these wheels actually looked pretty bad in stock form with those little donut tires on them, but once I put the mud terrains on, you know, they look better. But I'm gonna change these out and put some black wheels on here. I already have mud terrains, so all I need now is a matching set of black wheels. So after I do those things, then it'll pretty much be blacked out just like I was wanting originally. And I still have all the options on this Overland that I really wanted. So anyhow, I'm gonna get some shots here of the before that you guys have seen it before, you know what it looks like. And then after we get all this done, we'll come back and show you the results. I think that it's gonna look really awesome because this hydro blue paint, I mean, obviously it really pops. So with a dark black accenting, it just contrasts really well. And I think it looks so good that way. All right, so I'm gonna do the rear emblem first. I just put some newspaper around it here. I need to get the newspaper down away from the bottom of this letter P here. But the cool thing about the plasti dip is it's very forgiving. So obviously the painted surfaces around the letters, it's gonna peel right off of that. Not gonna be an issue. You just have to make sure that, like in this case, you don't want your newspaper up against the letter. That's a bad thing. But anyway, got it all taped off, and all you have to do is follow the instructions on the can. Now I'm gonna shake this really well because the can on the back, if you read the instructions, it makes it very obvious that you got to shake this really well to mix all the chemical up in there. And then what I'm going to do is just go over it with a light tack coat, give it just a little bit of time to dry, hit it again, a little bit of time to dry, and then the third time around I'll give a good coverage of the product, but it goes on pretty well. And then, you know, after you give it 3 or 4 hours to cure, then you can take all your newspaper and stuff off of there, and you should be ready to start peeling away from the outsides of the letters and the insides and so forth and so on. So let me go ahead and get this shaken up real good and spray this first coat, and then I'll show you what it looks like. Alright, so the instructions tell you to wait at least a half hour between coats. Now I was going to give it just a couple of light tack coats, but the instructions actually tell you to do a full coverage coat here like this. And then, you know, like I said, you can wait a half hour, do another coat. You can do as many coats as you want. I'll probably just do a couple. In my experience, there's not really any reason to do a whole lot of coats. So I'll just do, I'll let this dry, and then I'll do one more good full coverage coat. And then we'll just give it time to set up, and we should be good after that. And then of course the interesting part is when you start peeling it off. But this stuff is really cool. You know, you've seen it before, but I'll kind of show you how it works on this specific tailgate here. Now, while this is drying, I guess I'll go tape off the fenders, because there's those 2 emblems on the side over there that I need to do also. This is an emblem that I forgot about, the trail rated emblem. You can see when you put this stuff on, it looks kind of wet and splotchy, but then as it dries, all of this will kind of cure out and work its way out. But you can already see how it turns rubberized. So that's how you're able, once all this dries, you're able to kind of pull away from there and clean all that up, and then you can just wipe the paint down. It's not a problem. So technically this one is still in the process of drying, but I'm impatient, so I'm being very careful here, and I'm going ahead and taking some of the plasti dip out from, you know, the little detailed areas of the letters. One tool you're going to definitely want is a toothpick because it won't scratch your paint, but it will let you get in there and get those little fine areas out of here. So almost done though, and you can see, I mean, obviously it's still drying, but it's gonna look way better. Oh yeah, I think that's a much nicer look. Blue on black. Alright, so now that I have the emblems blacked out, I'm going to move along here and do this trim on the grill. Now, the problem that I have is that I've got this big 12,000 pound winch sitting right here on my bumper. And as you can see, there is no space at all there. So the factory bumper gives you plenty of room to pop this grill out, because you have all them snap clips that go along the bottom, right? So you got to pull the bottom of it straight out. But you can see that's clearly not gonna happen with this aftermarket setup. So I really don't want to take the whole thing off, because I don't want to have to disconnect all of my winch wiring. So what I'm going to try to do, and hope that it works, is I'm going to go in here and I'm going to take the top bolts out. You remember that there's 8 altogether that hold the bumpers onto these things. There's 4 on this side, 4 on that side. I'm going to take the top 2 out completely, and then the bottom 2 on each side, I'm just going to loosen them up. And I'm hoping that that will let me slide this bumper out a couple of inches and tilt the top of it forward just enough, hopefully, that I can pop those clips free and wiggle this grill up and out of here. Another thing I'm going to do, you can see how there's some sharp edges here. I'm going to take some painter's tape and lay along the grill down here, so that when it does pop out, it's probably going to smack that. It's inevitable. And hopefully it won't scratch the paint, because I got to get this grill out of here to do the job, obviously. These grills are a piece of cake to take off if you don't have an aftermarket setup in front of it like this. But in any case, it is what it is. So let me get started on that and see if I can make enough space here to do this. Man, I'll tell you what, the weather is terrible. The wind is really howling out there. So anyway, I got this bumper loosened up, and I was able to just barely, see those clips down there? I just barely was able to unpop them. And so now I can wiggle this grill up out of here and get going on this job. Now the top of the grill, you've seen this before, it's just got 6 of those little push rivets like this. So you just pop that center part up a little bit, and then you can pull the whole thing out. There's 6 of those across the top, and then the bottom of it just snaps out. So I'm very happy that I was able to do that. I'm going to pull it on out of here now, and then I can get started on changing that out. Hopefully before this weather gets any worse. Good grief. We must have a storm blowing up or something. It's turning real quick out here. All right, I hope you can hear me through all this wind out here, but to do this part, like I mentioned, these grills that come on the Rubicons and the Overlands, they're actually a 3-piece grill. So it's layered in here like a cake, basically. So you see these here, these are T20 Torx head, and you got several of those around there. So I'm gonna use my nifty electric ratchet, run those out real quick, and then the honeycomb sections will come out. Over here, around the headlight bezels, you've got these clips here that you have to kind of maneuver. Actually, some of these pull off. That's those little metal tension clips, and you just have to pull those off. There's probably a couple of them around here, and you know, that way you can get those out. And then you've also got some plastic clips here. You can see the tab right here that you have to push in to slide it out. So, you know, if you have any mechanical inclination whatsoever, you can look at this and figure out how to do it. It's one of those deals where it's not hard to do, it just takes a while, time consuming. You know how those things go. So honeycomb comes out first, then we can take the silver trim out, replace it, and then put the honeycomb back in. Is basically the deal. And the electric ratchet, as usual, will make something like this a whole lot faster. All right, I wanted to show you something here. So when you get those screws out, the T20 Torx, and then you pop out those little white tabs, here they are. Those are just, you know, standard issue. You press on here and push it through. So after you do that part, then you're gonna have these little tabs right here. And it's helpful to have 2 flat blade screwdrivers, because what you have to do is you have to pull this part of the tab up while you push that tab forward, because the bottom one here has to slide under that little tab right there. So you got to lift up on this one and then push that one under it to release it, and then you'll see that it's loose, and you've got a few of those around here. So be careful with it. It's plastic, don't break it. You can see where I poked on it. But if you're careful, use a couple of tools. I've got a little pick here that I'm using and a flat blade. You can get these unlocked, and then the rest of this will just pull right out. By the way, don't you guys just love how I use my nasty old trash can as a workbench all the time? It works. So anyway, got the honeycomb out after removing that assortment of clips, and then you can just pop your trim out. So here's the silver trim, comes with the Overland. Start in the middle, and then you can do left and right here and just pop these out. And obviously these are the parts that we're going to replace with the black. Now we're over here to this section where the headlight bezel is kind of made onto the ends. So I'm going to take probably some needle nosed pliers, or maybe a flat blade screwdriver, or both. Ooh, that one's already loose. Look at there. That one's already loose. I can just pull it right off my fingers probably, and just take these clips off around the headlight bezel, and then the outside sections will pop out. And then it'll just be time to replace them with the black ones. All right, so now we're going to reassemble. And you notice that this new black one is all one section. That's because that's the way they mold it. So if you see the note there, it says remove. You're going to cut this little tab out right here. Don't use your wife's kitchen scissors unless you want to get in really bad trouble. Make sure you use your own garage scissors. But just cut these tabs out. There's one up there, one down here, and then of course there's one here and one there to separate the three pieces. And then installation of this one is exactly the opposite. We're just going to reinstall the way we uninstalled the other one. We're going to clip these in, right side, left side, and then the center section is last. And then we'll do the the honeycomb, and I think that's about it. Then I'll be ready to slide it back down in here and bolt the bumper back down. So not too bad, a little bit time consuming. I've got about an hour in it so far, but it should be on the downhill swing now. All right, let me get this thing out of the wind so that I can actually talk and you can hear me. But look at that. That's gonna look so much better. Check that out. The black trim looks so much better. Now, looks are always subjective, but I really think that the black trim looks a lot better. You got the black emblems. Everything else is black, you know, the fender flares and the step rails and the mirrors and the door handles, all the rest of it's black, so why not finish it out, you know? That's gonna look a lot better, guys. It really is. All right, so that's how it looks. Much, much better in my opinion. It gives it a nice, sinister, serious look. You know, the silver trim, I just never could really get used to that silver trim on these things. It seemed to me to kind of clash with everything else. I mean, the Overlands even come with these dark granite crystal painted wheels, so why put silver trim on it? But anyway, easy enough to rectify. What do you guys think? All that's left now is the wheels, and this blackout project will be done. It's starting to look a whole lot more like a Willys every day. All right, guys, so I got the wheels were delivered, and I'm out here in the garage. I have to find, bear with me here for just a second, because one of these I had already, there it is, I had already opened it up to just verify that they sent me. I just wanted to verify they sent me the right thing. So I'm going to show you the wheels that I went with. Now, one thing that I'll go ahead and mention is that on the Jeep Gladiator, the sizing that you're looking for in a wheel is a little bit different than what you may normally think that you need to look for. Let me adjust the camera here a little bit. Most of the time, especially if you're dealing with a full-size truck, what you're looking for is negative offset. But on the Jeep Gladiator, that is not the case. Now there are guys who run negative offset wheels on their Gladiators, but I personally just don't think that it looks very good, and it certainly is not very functional, because you put negative offset wheels on a Gladiator and you're really pushing your wheels out beyond, you know, the ideal spacing for a solid axle setup. It really affects a lot of different things. So these wheels are the Vision Manx 2 wheels. Hopefully you can see the face of them there okay. I think these are going to look pretty awesome on the Gladiator. This is an 18 by 9 inch wheel. So it's going to give me an 1.5 inches extra width in the wheel to stretch out the tires a little bit more. The 295s on the stock wheels work great, but visually you can look at them and tell that they, you know, those tires would actually like to have a little bit more width. And so this 9-inch wheel should be perfect for a 295 width wheel, or tire, I mean. So 18 by 9, I went with a solid black, obviously, because the goal here is to black the Jeep out, at least all the accents and what have you. I like how this wheel has external lug nuts. A lot of wheels have a cap, center cap, that goes over the lug nuts and everything. I don't like that because it's not a big deal, but it's kind of a pain to have to take the cap off every time you want to just check your lug nuts real quick. So with this design, you know, you can visually check your lug nuts, and you can also quickly throw a wrench on there and just check the torque spec. So I like that. These should work fine with the factory TPMS sensors. They've got a fake bead lock looking ring here that is not detachable. I think that the Vision wheels I had on the Ram, what were those called? Nemesis, the Vision Nemesis. They had one of these fake bead lock rings on them, but you could take that ring off. So if it got damaged, or if you just wanted a different color or something like that, you could take all the little bolts out. You could remove the ring from the wheel. You could paint it, replace it, whatever. This one is not that way, which is one of the reasons why it was a little bit more economical. But yeah, there it is. I think it's going to look really great. So now, the other thing I'll mention also while I'm talking about Vision is I've had a lot of different brands of wheels, and a lot of these economical Chinese-made aftermarket wheels are not balanced very well. Like the wheel itself is not balanced very well. And you know, like the tolerances, I guess is what I'm really trying to say. The manufacturing tolerances are not perfect on them, and it doesn't take much to give you a vibration going down the road. So, you know, it's kind of a pain. And with these Vision branded wheels, I've never really had that trouble. You know, this seems to be, let me grab the camera here and we'll take a little bit closer look. These Vision branded wheels always seem to do really well as far as balancing out good for me. So, you know, I kind of really like that about them as well. 9 inches, 18 inches. I can use them with my existing tires, which I'm still doing a long-term review on those Yokohama Geolandar MTs. So I want to keep running those. So there you go. Now all we have to do is go down to the tire shop and have them put on for me. Now let me show you one more thing. As I very gently set this wheel out of the box, might not be able to see them, but the salesman, I got these from Discount Tire Direct. I always shop from Discount Tire Direct because their customer service is fantastic. Without me even having to ask, the salesman asked me if I wanted these hub rings, and I said yes. I used to not really believe in these. I didn't think they really did anything beneficial. But when I had those aftermarket wheels on the Ram last year, I discovered that these things actually really do help. Because I put those wheels, they were really expensive too. They were like what were those? Fuel, I think the brand was Fuel Off-Road. It was the Rebel, which everybody and their brother has now. After I got them, seems like everybody got them. But anyway, I think I spent over $1,000 just for those wheels. And there was a little bit of a vibration. It wasn't bad, but just a little bit of a vibration. So I got them to send me some of these hub rings that matched the wheel to the Ram hub, and all of the vibration went away. It was amazing. So these little things right here do make a difference. And I'm gonna make sure the tire shop uses them when they put these wheels on the Jeep. And of course also you gotta get these new lug nuts. See, they're the long spline drive lug nuts to fit down in there. So there it is. Time to go to the tire shop, and then we'll see what these things look like. Just left the tire shop, and it's a wet, rainy, cold morning out here, but I've got the cruise set at 70 miles an hour, and check this out. It's just as smooth as can be. Not only do I not have any wandering or bad handling, but these wheels balanced out just as well as the factory wheels. And like I was saying, these Vision branded ones, I've never had trouble out of this brand. You know, a lot of the brands, the economically priced brands will give you some issues, but these Vision branded ones seem to do a pretty good job. So no shimmy or shake at all, seems to be doing pretty well. Hopefully it'll stay that way. And the bonus is, while they had the wheels and tires off the truck, they went ahead and rotated them for me. I've got 5,000 miles on these Yokohama mud terrains, and it was almost time to rotate them. So they went ahead and did that for me. I don't have to worry about doing that in the driveway, so that's good news also. Let me get on back to the house, and then I'll let you see what these look like. Who doesn't absolutely just love a cloudy, damp, cold, wet October day? But I think the truck looks a lot better. What do you guys think? So just to recap, we already got rid of the factory bumper that had the silver accents, went with an aftermarket bumper, so that was already blacked out. Took the silver grill trim out of the Overland grill, replaced it with the black trim from the Rubicon. Could have gone with a solid black grill like the Willys package actually comes with, but I think this looks a little bit better, to be honest. Got the black wheels, of course. Used plastic dip to trim out the emblems, and then of course we did the rear tailgate also with the black Jeep emblem. So I think, obviously it's always subjective when you start talking about opinions about looks, but this is one of those things, didn't have anything to do with the great all-around Jeep Gladiator build that I was doing. This was just purely cosmetic and just because I wanted to do it. But I think it looks pretty good. Now these wheels are 18x9, positive 12 offset, and you can see that they do poke out just a little bit more. The factory wheels with these same tires were perfectly flush with the edge of the fenders, and these are sticking out now probably about 1.5 to 2 inches. Not a whole lot, but that's kind of what I was looking for. You guys know that I don't want a whole lot of my tires sticking out beyond the fenders because we have so many gravel roads around here, and I'm a little bit concerned about the paint. So I'm kind of happy with these. The positive 12 offset was perfect. It looks really good. Has just a little bit of poke, but not too much. And I'm pretty happy with it overall. So there's one more little piece here I'm gonna hold off for later. I do have a black hood emblem or decal, I guess, to put on here. You know, the Willys package has the Willys decal on the hood. Mine's gonna be a little bit more unique and special and just kind of perfect for me, but I'll show you guys that later on. But like I said, it's raining and it's cold and I'm hungry, so as for now, I'm gonna end this video right here. I think I've made it a little bit longer than it should have been anyway, so appreciate you guys watching. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Again, this is nothing functional. I just did this because I wanted to. But anyway, we'll have some more cool content coming pretty soon, hopefully. And like always, I appreciate you guys watching. Enjoy the rest of your Halloween weekend.